All right, so I want to talk about pop culture and how it's changed over the years. Specifically, I guess I'll probably go through growing up in the 80s and what that excitement was of entertainment and show business and pop culture in general, and just how different it's been over all these years. All right, let's take a really calm and relaxing look into pop culture, showbiz, entertainment in a different kind of way than I believe we've sort of become used to over the last, decade or so. I'm not sure when TMZ or Perez Hilton sort of became a thing. And yes, these things were lightning in a bottle and they were such a shock at the time. And it almost feels like that maybe was a line of difference with the work. So I don't even deem myself as the most astute, but I know that a lot of times you look at the arts and showbiz, entertainment, pop culture, they were always they were to give, they were to feed a certain artistry. Like that was what it was all about. And just the way it's changed, I feel like, over years it got worse and worse. As I said, Perez Hilton, TMZ, not aiming that as the only reason, but I look at that era, the era of when a Paris Hilton and a Kim Kardashian became like socialites. And again, I'm not knocking any of these things. I'm not knocking Perez, TMZ, or that excitement that was, the new version of socialites. All of it was good, but I think that over time, I'm noticing that a sentence that I would have said so easily before, which is, I love music and I love, movies, film, cinema, TV, acting. I liked it all. And now, post those years, it's like, it comes so far off anything but the work. The work was always the most exciting. When you watched a film, even going back to the greats, The Wizard of Oz, it was always about being entertained. And, I just never thought it would be less about that and more about, all the scandalous things. And are there scandalous things? Sure. And is there a time and a place for those things? Yes, just as such with every industry. But I do feel like for me personally, I miss getting excited about something. And it all kind of turned into a little bit of a light bulb moment for me when I was watching the most recent, the Tony Awards. And, Pink was the host, and Pink was not necessarily in the theater community, although of course she loves it. And of course she's a wonderful performer, but she wasn't really within the theater community. Did she do a great job? Yes. And that's a discussion to be had also, bringing people that aren't really in the actual theater community or, know the work, can they host the show? Pink's an interesting case because she can do so much. She has such a skill set, and it is a level of getting more eyeballs to, the Tony Awards. But I think in some ways that's a little bit do you want your musicals, theater, stage work, do you want it to be fun and easy digestible, like jukebox musical, or do you want it to be something that is a little more rich? And I understand definitely there's a case for things should be light and easy and easily digestible, but I'm wondering, me personally, as somebody who worked mostly in radio, that was my original skill set, and segment production and television, that is it too easily digestible now that we're so in void of the actual work being as glorious as it could be? Is there not as much quality entertainment anymore, but is there quick, easy digestible things that work on a mass appeal level? There's nothing wrong with that, specifically in business. To have mass appeal is good, but we all know when we're thinking about the work, and again, I don't know as much as I would like to about theater, but it's a jukebox musical, unfortunately, is going to be fun. Yes, woohoo, but it's not going to be rich. It's not going to be, exquisite. It's not going to be pristine. And I'm just kind of running this all in my mind, and as a little hello, my name is RandomlyRJ Jr. If you want to support all the radio work that I've done over the years and even the difficultness that is the radio industry that has been, that you could support me at patreon.com/RandomlyRJ Jr. So it is just a thing where I'm getting so in wonderment. Is that a word? In wonderment, wondering. Can there be a little bit more of a push for quality entertainment, to not always make every single thing about, well, that's not going to make as much money, we got to do it this way, mass appeal. Why have a wonderful person in the theater community host the Tonys? Let's have a pop star. Again, Pink makes sense. She does make sense. And by the way, all the stunt casting that goes into some of the shows anyways, like Chicago, Pink, of course, holds her own in that space. So let's not knock her necessarily, but it is that level of thinking, oh man, like this is really, I think there's a lost moment of wonderful artistic work. And that's something that I always enjoyed, and it was always very inspirational, exciting, going back in the day to see all the wonderful artists from yesteryear who could sing, dance, act. There was such an artistry, and we cared more about the work, not about, all the stuff, that is going on with the particular entertainer and the performer and the business of it. It was just more about the work. And I just really do miss that. Where I saw it coming in, and it was a challenge to me, was in the world of radio. The world of radio, and as you know here, I love long form content. I always feel like if you're going to utilize your ears and listen, why would I want a 60-second vertical clip that's super fast that doesn't really give me the full context? I'd rather, spend my time really receiving wonderful stuff. That's just me. And I remember doing radio and television production and such, and it all changed where everything had to go faster and quicker and goofier and more over the top. And again, that's all fine. And I said there was a line, I mentioned the TMZ, Paris Hilton, and Kim Kardashian kind of era. That's all fine. But I feel like all it's done year after year is move further. And now it's moved so far that I'm like, why is it so hard to find, quality performances? It's just, that's not really what is as much deemed as entertainment. And to each their own. If entertainment for whoever is more the salacious, there's definitely a space for that. I mean, I watched Wendy Williams for years. I come from radio, but I just am seeing there's just got to be a little bit of a change, or maybe not even a change, but a little bit of a communal, let's find the artistry coming through yet again. And the way my mind works too, I always want more. I'm like, whatever I know now, I don't want to limit myself. I want to know even more. Thinking about all this and thinking about, because I was thinking about it within my career too. It's why has it been so difficult? I've done 1,500 episodes on RandomlyRJr.com. You can find it at different platforms, but specifically patreon.com/RandomlyRJr, because that's the one that really helps out. But I've seen that within 1,500 episodes and all the, close to 20 years of radio experience, why is it so hard to get things to move? And the simple question really is, well, there could be two. One, Randomly Ronnie Jr., you are the worst. You have no skill set. But again, back in 2005, I was on the television right there on Fuse TV. All the big markets that I've worked in radio, there was definitely a skill set at a time. But it's interesting that as everything has shifted, as I said, everything went further, that now if you have a little bit of a sound mind, as I feel like I do, and you don't create your work and make it super over the top salacious and, just really going out there, that somehow I think audiences have gotten really used to loving that when you just talk, I would say as a regular random little conversation, breaking things down, somehow it doesn't seem as interesting and entertaining. I was talking to one of my colleagues, a colleague I've known for 20 years, and talking about the formulating how to do the work, and it's got to be, the hook has got to be this, and this has got to be this, and all that's good and fine. But I think that it's really become a space where all of that stuff has now outshined what actually you want to do. I look at things that I've done, and I could so easily change. Let's say I do like an episode, I could so easily change it, and within the title or the caption or the artwork, make it seem like it's just this dramatic, just you will never believe. But by the way, half that stuff and the stuff that does win these days are things that you will never believe because they aren't really believable, because they aren't really, you know what I mean? So here you have authenticity, somebody who is trying, and I've always wondered that too, because if I would have started in the era of the now, I probably went, well, I won't say I probably because my character set up differently, but I probably could have went another route. But because I already know that if you just do the work, no matter how these trends have changed, you can succeed if you try and you work your butt off. 9 days of work a week, I always say. Only 7, but I used to work 9 days of work a week. That's just how hard and dedicated I had been in my early 20s, and the results were good. Like I said, I was able to succeed in that platform or marketplace way easier because it was all about the work. And like I say, I'm really trying to define what that line is. TMZ, Perez Hilton, the Paris Hilton, and Kim Kardashian like era. Nothing's wrong with those things. And in fact, when those things all happened, it was kind of fun because it was like, oh, this is different. You know, here we're used to, you know, whatever it is, we go to the movies, cool, but like, oh, wait, but did you hear such and such? And all that is okay. I'm not knocking it, but I do think that from that time, and I'm thinking about my career, and I'm thinking about how challenging it got for not just me, but for anyone who was in my, the colleagues and people that I collaborated with, and we worked really well together. None, I won't say none, but nearly none have been able to really succeed in the newer marketplace, which makes me ask the question, what is it that audiences really want? Do audiences want integrity, good character, or are they generally okay with like, that looks like a train wreck, let me go see? I don't know. It seems like that is what it is. And I've never wanted to kind of do that in the space of that's just a trend. That is for here. That is for now. In my mind, in my heart of hearts, there's a shift, and there is a shift for more quality. And, you know, yes, there's challenges, and I'm not giving the greatest quality that I would like to, but I'm at least aiming to. You know, the economics, as I say, help and support my Patreon. The economics have caused a lot of challenge within that. And it's been interesting because I will see people who I worked with years ago who were, no one's at a higher or lower level, but let's say experience-wise, who were at a lower level. I would see, you know, people that I knew much lower at a level, and like overnight were able to necessarily succeed. And so then I'd go look at the stuff and I'd be like, oh, well, I know why. You know, you aimed for the lowest common denominator, or, that's low hanging fruit. Well, there you go. And I'm not judging necessarily who and how and why people do that, but I do think it's coming to a point where even me being entertained, like let's say by my favorite shows that I'd used to, podcasts I'd listen to or shows I'd watch, they've all had to kind of, aim lower and more, like not everything is, like there are some good and happy stories, there are some hardworking, dedicated, ambitious people. And I just don't know why it's so exciting to like, the junk. And if that's what it is and that's how you make your money, that's great. I will never have an opposition to that per se. I just more so am thinking in my head that I see a void and maybe a coming together moment where I don't think everyone likes that. That's what's on the table right now, but I don't think everyone likes that. I think everyone would return to this concept of like, wow, I like the arts for the arts. I like being entertained for being entertained, being entertained and then being entertained where it's like, oh, now you got to make commentary because the whatever you were entertained by was so polarizing and split you down the middle. You either think this or you think this. That's not art. That is maybe consumerism, and there's a place for that, but that is not art. And I just again, I watched Wendy Williams. How astute and could I be? But I just feel like that's been something that has been a bit of a challenge. And I always hold down to the concept of like, well, I'm just going to continue no matter how difficult it is. I'm going to continue on, on my path. And when I do make mentions too, like, oh, I got 1,500 episodes, that's a nice little, like, if you'd like to support, go check out, there's at least 1,500 on top of about a 20-year work experience within radio, segment production, television, some on camera, some certainly behind, and just being a active, hardworking person. So to be such a hardworking person, and it's not just me. Like I said, so many of my colleagues all really, 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 really are just, used up in terms of resources. So it's been such a thing. And so I kind of like added it up in my head and I said, what is this all, where and how and why? And most of it is that, quality entertainment has kind of taken a back seat. But I feel like for me, as much as I like the silly, maybe I watch reality TV, so I'm good for a good Scamanda was a scandal on Vanderpump Rules, on Summer House on Bravo. Scandival was a scandal on Vanderpump Rules on Bravo. So I'm like for all that stuff, but I feel like for me, it's always been, and it's the reason I think my name is Randomly Ronnie. Randomly means I like things to be varied. I don't like to just be in one thing. As much as I want to watch the scandalous thing, the mindless, guilty pleasure of reality TV, then I'm like, give me the highest form of art. Then give me, recommend a book that I can read, and not on a tablet. I want to read it. I want to turn the pages. I want to sit at a park, get fresh air. Like I want to always channel into both. I want to channel into the rough and raw side that we all have. And then I want to channel into the, the gorgeous amazingness side of myself that I know we all have. And so like, I'll kind of want to get back to that, or even it doesn't have to be this or that, but it could be this side, but then also it could be this, where there are much more, excitement behind seeing a wonderful live performer or whatever. I think about the shows that I've seen over the years, some of these venues, Hollywood Bowl, the Greek Theater in LA is just the coziest place to see a show. Madison Square Garden, seeing music live and just really feeling so connected to it. Like that's what I like. All of the other stuff that ends up on TMZ, like it's just not for me. Am I getting too old? Like, was I more okay with this stuff when I was in my 30s? I'm in my 40s now, and I'm like, I want to slow down. I don't want to like, you know what I mean? I want like a little bit more quality entertainment, I think. And I don't think that I'm the only person. I think there is a void. So just a little bit of a shift for me, but also asking the question, is there been such a shift in pop culture, and why is that? And also to each their own, but pop culture, showbiz, entertainment, it doesn't feel like what it used to feel like for me in the 80s growing up, and in the 90s in high school, in the early 2000s, like running amok, having such a wonderful, just exciting energy about life. And then, everything was shining and it was good and it was great. And all of a sudden, I wonder if the TMZ-ification, I call it, if the TMZ-ification has really just, great, complain all you want. I always love a good complaint. But if that's all that is happening, and sometimes it is that, it's always a problem. It's always this is wrong, that's wrong, problem, complaint. Did you know someone said, but I don't even care anymore. I want quality entertainment. I want pop culture to be maybe as excited as it always was. And I want artistry to be brilliant. I mean, that seems pretty simple thing to do. And I know from watching the Tony Awards this last time, I know there is that community who also likes that stuff. So it's now like an exciting time to kind of find it and grow from it and be all up in it. I mean, I don't know everything about everything. I'm just saying I want to be entertained, and as an example, there's these verticals, the digital, it's always so quick. It's like, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why, blink. It's like, whoa. What has been done fast ever been worth quality? Why do I need to know 5 reasons why in 10 seconds or less? Or even worse, when it comes to businesses, this isn't even entertainment, but it'll be like a commercial. You'll see a commercial. You've seen the commercial. It'll be a commercial and it'll be like, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why, and it'll be something like really big, like a taking out a second mortgage or something like that. I'm like, let me tell you something. I don't want anything done that is that valuable in like 12 seconds or less. Like, we are just rushing to where? Where are we rushing to? Where are we rushing to? And yes, this is an aside that has nothing to do with what I was talking about. I'm mostly talking about pop culture, but I'm wondering where we're going, why we're going so fast, and what is the takeaway, or what are we getting out of it? I don't know that we are really getting a lot out of it, is what I feel. So pop culture, laugh at it if you want, but it's like, how has pop culture changed and why so dramatically over the years? It's a question that I keep pondering, and I don't know. I usually know. I just don't know. Yeah, pop culture changing over the years. Do you love it? Do you not love it? That is the question.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.